Hello there, Sagittarius. Thank you so much for stopping by for your monthly in-depth tarot forecast. We are going to break the month down into 4 separate time frames. So the first time frame that we're going to look at is going to be September the 1st through September the 8th. We're just going to look at some main themes of energies as we move through that time frame, and then we'll check on the other time frames as well. I think it's better to get an idea of the flow of energies through the month than it is to just look at the main energy for the whole month all at once. We get so much more information if we can see the flow of energy and how things are going. So let's put down some cards for the 1st through the 8th. Alrighty. Let's start off by looking at your environment. And what we have right now for your environment, let's see what's happening here. This is interesting, Sagittarius. It looks like you're having some kind of new understanding about your environment. And I think it's coming about because things aren't really working so smoothly. And because things aren't working so smoothly here, you're having to figure some things out. So you've got a new understanding about your environment. And by getting this new understanding about your environment as you're figuring things out, that loosens things up for you. It makes you feel like you're more a part of things going on around you, a part of the community even. Okay? So that's environment. And environment, by the way, is any place where you have energy or effort invested. So for most people it's home, but it could be other places too. It's good to keep your mind open to the idea that it could be other places besides home. All right, Sagittarius. Next thing we're looking at is your subconscious leanings. What's going on in that subconscious mind, in the background programming of your mind? Looks like you have a choice here, and your subconscious is really working on what you're going to decide. This choice has to do with the idea of competing with other people or not competing with other people. Do you want to throw your hat in the ring? Do you want to be a part of the competition? And I think your subconscious is looking at, if I don't compete, then I don't get whatever the reward is for competing. But I think you're also looking at, but if I do compete, there's really no guarantee, and I'm going to be spending all this energy and time competing. And so your subconscious is looking at, okay, what do I actually want to do with this situation? How do I want to do this situation? Do I want to jump into the competition, or do I want to walk away from this competitive situation? Next thing that we're looking at, I also get the sense that this competitive situation doesn't seem really fair to you. It may seem like it's rigged. Okay, let's look next at learning style and also communication style. I do feel like you're learning things in a very solid way on some kind of platform. So when I say platform, that could be formal learning, classroom type of thing. Excuse me, but this can also be an online platform that you're learning from. Maybe you're taking a class on Udemy or some other online learning website. But it looks like you're getting some kind of education about something here that is very much formatted and presented for your digestion. Okay? I think you're also learning something else too at the same time, and that has to do with how to create abundance for your future. Some of you may be planning retirement, that type of thing. Figuring out, how you're going to make it so that you can retire, doing some learning, doing some research around that. And then the last thing that shows up whenever we're looking at your learning styles during this particular time frame is that you are looking for the truth about a situation. I think somebody has given you some information, whether this is somebody you know or somebody you don't. Somebody has presented you with some information that you're not quite sure you're trusting, and so you're looking to sort out what is actually the truth of that situation. Learning the truth. Next thing that we have coming up talks to me about communication style. I do think your communication right now is coming in really quickly with a lot of enthusiasm. Really quickly with a lot of enthusiasm. I don't feel like this is sharp communication, but I do feel like it's definitely, it is communication that has integrity. It is truthful communication, but I do think it's communication coming in quickly because there has to be action behind it. That's very quick. What else do we have about communicating? Money talks. Money talks, Sagittarius, and I think you're using your money to say something. You're using your money to send a message. So some of you may be donating to a political campaign. Some of you may have somebody who's a skeptic about what you can or can't do, and you're offering to help them with something as a way of just getting them to shut up and show them that you've got plenty. So they need to take their story and peddle it on down the road somewhere else because it's not about you. Okay? But you are making some kind of statement with money during this time frame. And the other thing that we have about your communication is that you are telling the truth. And not only are you telling the truth, but you're telling the truth with grace. So you're not being vicious about telling the truth. You're telling the truth with grace and with beauty. Okay? So this is not a vicious type of calling somebody out, but this is really telling the truth of a situation from a standpoint where you can see the beauty that's involved in this situation. So a lot of times whenever we talk about telling the truth, a lot of people associate that with being some kind of mean thing or calling somebody out or the truth being vicious. I don't see this as the truth being vicious. I don't see this as really so much calling somebody out. I see this as more, look, this is the situation. This is how it is. And it's more of putting out some undeniable facts and letting people have the opportunity to consider, what do they want to do about this? Do they want to respond at all? If they want to respond, how do they want to respond to these undeniable facts? And I think you're putting them out there in a gentle enough way that people can digest that truth. At least most people. All right. Let's look next, Sagittarius, at your work. Oh, ho, 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 ho. I think you may be discontinuing a contract or a commitment with somebody. So you could be cutting loose a client. If you're a vendor, somebody could be cutting you loose. If you're an employer, you could be cutting loose an employee or a group of employees. If you're an employee, you could be coming away from a work situation, walking away from it. I definitely get the sense of release here, that there's a sense of release in this whole situation. No longer a commitment or a contract. But I don't feel really bad about it. You know, like, this isn't a tower situation. This is more peaceful than that. Okay, it may be that if you're an employee and your employer released you, it was because they had to. You know, I don't see this as being a vicious situation. And also, I have a card here that tells me that this allows you to get back to basics, and this allows you to go back to doing something that you used to do in the past that I think you really actually enjoyed. And I think that you may be, as you're released from this one situation, I think you're starting into the next situation really quickly. And I think you may be doing something that is more, I think for some of you, gig work, but this is more freelance or independent type work. So if you come away from a job where somebody is paying you weekly and you have to show up, you know, whether it's online or whether it's in the office, you may be coming into a situation, maybe you're going into a situation where now you're cleaning homes and you have a whole bunch of different clients. So there's not one big contract or commitment, but there's a lot of little ones. Or, you know, maybe you're designing websites for people. You know, this is more, I feel like this allows you a lot more freedom to set your own schedule and to do your own thing. So as you're released from a work situation or a work contract or a work commitment, I think you're really just naturally sort of bouncing over into this old thing that you've done before. And I think that you're doing it on your own. I don't think that you are hooking up with an employer. I think you are doing individual contracts and not having, you know, I think that you're collecting all the money that's made off of this because you're doing this as an individual. You're not under somebody else. Okay? So that's work. Let's look at inner work. La da 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 da. La da da da. Inner work has to do with this idea of traditional, old school, doing things the way that we've always done it because this is how we've always done it type of thing. And your inner work is to break away from that and to sort of think for yourself about, why am I doing this way, and is it necessary? Is it even smart to keep doing it this way? Is there a smarter way to do things? Is there a smarter perspective to use when looking at things? And so I think the inner work is for you to start thinking outside the box about what's really best for you, as opposed to following the crowd or following the culture. Thinking about, you know, thinking about some of the rules that are in place that really are not beneficial anymore. They were at one time probably, but they're just not now. And looking at, you know, do I have to follow those rules? They're not really beneficial. Are there better rules I could be following that would offer me more stability, more security, you know, a healthier situation? That's really that inner work. You're sort of reorganizing your perspective on different things right now. Now, guys, when I say right now, that means whatever time frame is up in the corner there. Just so you know, I sort of get lost in these times. To me, it all looks like right now, for the most part, whenever I start to do these spreads, even though it's still in the future. All right. Let's look next at that part of your personality that's being grown or expanded right now, Sagittarius. You are coming back to something, and I think this ties in with what I saw in work, where you're going back to doing something that you used to do. And I think before, when you did it, It was a situation that you were being depleted. Maybe you weren't being paid enough. Maybe somebody was paying you to do this old thing before, but the pay really wasn't commensurate with the job or the energy or effort you were putting in. Well, now that you're doing it on your own, you can change that, can't you? So I see you walking back to this old thing. And I think you're even contacting people that are from the past, colleagues from the past, people in your network from the past that might be able to give you tips and leads and help. You know, maybe you are looking for someone to work for in doing this while you're picking up the extra work on the side that's just for yourself. And I think that you're looking at all the options you have about how you want to handle this situation. Do you want to stay independent? You know, do you want to work for a bigger company? Do you want to work for a family-owned company, a small company? You know, you have lots of options here about how you can move forward with this thing that you're going back to. And I think where you're growing and expanding is realizing all of these options. And I think the more people that you talk to in that world of whatever it was you used to do, the more people you talk to, the more options you have, the more options you see, and the bigger the horizon becomes of choices that you have in front of you about what direction you want to take this. Okay. That's where you're growing or expanding. Next, let's look at things that you stand for. What do we have here? I think you're already viewing this release from the work situation as something that really logically made a lot of sense for you. Logically, it was the next step because it allows for you to transform things for yourself. So you're already saying, you know what, that was the best thing that could have happened to me. And when you stand up for that being the best thing that could have happened to you, what is this other person thinking of you? They're definitely seeing that you're not paying attention to the disappointment here, that you are focusing on the opportunity and moving forward as you're focusing on that opportunity. They're seeing you as somebody who is definitely starting something from scratch, brand new, not even knowing really where it's going to go, but, you know, just having that courage to get out there, take that leap, and just do it. And they feel like, even though you've told them that this is the best thing that could happen to you, they feel like you weren't really happy about doing it. Maybe you weren't feeling like you were exactly totally ready without this nudge. They're feeling like you weren't super happy about it, but you are starting something new and you are looking at opportunities instead of having a pity party about the disappointments. That's nice. That's really nice. Okay. So it looks like there's a big metamorphosis or a big change during this time frame that's actually working out really well for you because you're not just laying down and taking it. You're taking action. You're thinking on your feet, well, what am I going to do now? And you're just doing it. Nothing's stopping you. Nothing's getting in your way. You're just doing it. Let's look at your flex period. This is the period where things start to change direction for you during this time frame. Oh, yeah. You are definitely independent, doing your own thing. You're finding yourself to be self-sufficient with doing your own thing. I think you're really impatient. You're impatient for more people to know about the services that you're offering. You're already self-sufficient and handling things well, but you're impatient to really scale up and get that out there and become more well-known to people. Become somebody that people trust for your services much more so than what they are right now. At the same time, what's happening at the same time? There is somebody who's trying to help you financially. I think they may feel like you need this help, you need this boost right now. I don't think they understand just exactly how well you're doing on your own. And I think that you're deciding to turn away that help. Somebody's offering help, and you're turning it away. You're saying, no, thank you. I've got this. I've got this. I get the sense here, though, that you want to be careful about how you do this. It's not necessarily a wrong decision to do this, but you want to be careful about how you do this, because I think that you and this other person could, if you develop this relationship, become long-term collaborators in something that would be really good for both of you. So when you're telling them no thank you, be careful how you say it. Be careful not to burn any bridges or alienate that other person that's just trying to be helpful. Also, at the same time, what's going on? I do think that you may be shooting your budget in the foot. I think that you may be doing some... I get it that you're starting something new and you're doing this on your own, and so there are expenses involved. I think you could be making some rash decisions about some of the things that you're buying right now because you're feeling so inspired about this thing. What I'm getting is it would be a good idea to think about your expenses when it comes to this especially, but really anywhere in life. It would be a good idea to think about, it's okay, here's how I want to say what I'm feeling. It's really easy when you're starting something up to envision what it's going to be like when it's really big. And that's a good thing. You want to envision that. Sometimes that can cause you to want to buy equipment and supplies and whatever for whenever that has really taken off and it's really scaled up to be big before you're there. Okay? This is like being a toddler and buying clothes for the teenager version of you. Okay? So your company is a toddler company, or maybe even an infant company, or a business, or sideline, or whatever you want to call it. And I think what I see here on the table is you are buying the equipment and the supplies as if you already had the growth in of 3 or 4 years. And that can break you really quick if you don't have that growth in. So what I'm saying here is, as you're buying for this thing you're starting, be very aware of where you are and what it is that you actually need for today's level of business. Don't buy for the level of business that this business is going to be at 5 years from now, but buy for the level of business that you are today, because it's going to help you to be much more comfortable as you're building this business, rather than, you know, these big loans for big equipment or lots of supplies and then not having enough income to pay them back. You want to actually buy what you need right now, and then as the business grows, you can always add to that. But what I see on the table is you really buying big in order to get this off the ground, because you're feeling so good about it. You're feeling so inspired about it, and you're feeling so happy. But I feel like the way this is showing up, this isn't the best decision that you could make. Spirit's appreciating your enthusiasm and the fact that you're bringing something back and you're doing something that you haven't done in a while. But at the same time, this is a caution from Spirit that, you know, don't go overboard in your spending. Let this activity, let this company, let this business grow into the equipment before you buy it, rather than buy this big equipment and then let the company grow into it. Okay? Now, where do we see you at the end of this time frame? This is really an exciting time frame. There's a huge transition happening. I think you're really happy with what's going on here, and you're even seeing how this is moving you from a situation that had a lot of drama, a lot of tension, a lot of stress, into something that's more peaceful and that makes a lot more sense for you. The other thing I see here, and I hate to say it, Sagittarius, but I'm going to have to because you guys can't head off this energy if you don't have the heads up to do it. You're kind of letting your early success go to your head. You're getting a little bit arrogant and overconfident here. You're getting a little too big for your britches, and that always ends up in a whooping. The universe will give you a whooping when you get too big for your britches. So try not to do that. Try to stay very aware of what's going on today. Try to stay humble. You know, you're doing very, very well. Try to keep that roll going. Okay? Try to stay focused. Don't let how well you're doing go to your head or make you intoxicated with success. Because when we do that, we start to make bad decisions, and then we end up paying for them. So don't do that. Okay? Because it looks to me like you're feeling like, okay, I'm out of tension, I'm in a better place, I've got things going well, and then we get this arrogant attitude. Don't do it. That's all I could say. Don't do it. Keep your integrity. All right? So let me wrap this up. I'm going to take a break, and then we'll come back and look at your next segment of Time for September. Welcome back, Sagittarius. That was quite an exciting little time frame last time. Let's see what happens this time around. We're looking at September 9th through the 16th this time. Let's see what comes up. Alrighty guys, let's take a peek at your environment right now. The first thing that we have here, I think you're putting a lot of energy and maybe even finances into your environment right now for something that is just not actually changing. Okay? This could be that you've got some kind of problem and you're trying to fix it, and it seems like whatever the maintenance people come up with to fix it is just not really working. Or it could be that, you know, this is just a really expensive fix, but you can't, I don't know, I see you putting in that money and the energy. I don't want to say you can't do it right now, but I don't think that it's actually completed or fixed or changed by the time the 16th is over. I think that's still something that you're going to be working on making better about your environment and investing the energy and effort to do so. Money is one form of energy, by the way. Now, next thing I'm looking at is your subconscious leanings. So, Sagittarius, I think somebody has expressed to you how much they care about you. And it looks to me like your reaction to that is, yeah, for how long? Like, I can't really make any plans based on how much you care about me. And it looks like this is some real clarity that has kind of come to you about this situation, that, you know, just because this person is saying that they care about you doesn't necessarily mean you can make long-term plans based on that. And I think your subconscious is really working with that situation and trying to understand and make sure that you handle that situation well. Next thing that we have going on talks to me about learning style and also communication style. I want you to be really careful about new information that comes in during this time, Sagittarius, because I do get the impression that you could be finding out some things that are false. And I feel like this is, somebody is sort of leading you to think these things. They may not be out and out lying, but if you're distorting things in your translation of them, I think they're okay with that. In fact, they may even be saying things in such a way as to encourage that. Okay? They may be sort of telling you the things that you want to hear. They may be talking about, you know, the things that you guys can do if you hook your wagon to them. The things that you guys can accomplish. Career-wise for some of you. Family-wise for some of you. I have the feeling that they're a little bit of a dream weaver. Meaning they're able to get you pointed in a certain direction and dreaming about things that are just dreams. They're illusion, they're fantasy, they're not reality. So that's one thing going on with learning that I really want you to be aware of. I feel like the truth is behind the curtain. The second card kind of talks about that. The truth is being hidden. You know, we have the first card talking about that there's illusions being propagated. This card just talks about the truth is being hidden. It makes me think of The Wizard of Oz. Whenever, if you've seen that movie, whenever the wizard is actually creating this huge image of his face in front of Dorothy and her friends, but when the dog goes and pulls the curtain down, it's just a man in front of a camera with a huge monitor, basically, is what's happening there. It's a normal guy. And that truth is being hidden from Dorothy and her friends in that movie. I think that there's a truth that's behind the curtain here, and I think that that truth behind the curtain that you're not being allowed to see really has to do with this person who is creating these illusions for you or asking you to dream in certain ways is they're not really capable of making these dreams reality that they want you to have. Okay. Now the other thing that we have going on here is you have somebody in your sphere of influence who is telling you the truth about this person. I feel like for some of you, they've known this person for a while and they know how they operate. Maybe this person has even done a number on them before. For others of you, this is just somebody who has the wisdom. They've been around the bend a few times and they've seen this kind of dog and pony show before, and they're letting you know, don't buy into it. Okay? You're gonna be warned. You're gonna have a warning about this. So to me, the way that this is coming in for your learning style, what you're picking up on here, there's a lot of illusions. There's a lot of things that are being fed to you that are not necessarily on target at all. But you have somebody who's coming into the situation who is letting you know the truth of the situation. Maybe they're just somebody that you're talking to and they're hearing this and they're seeing all the red flags here. I have a feeling that whenever they're telling you this, you're not going to want to hear it. This Dreamweaver's done a pretty good job of weaving the dream that you want, of figuring out what it is that you want to hear, what you do aspire to. And so I don't think you're really going to want to hear this, but I'm going to caution you, pay attention. Pay attention and take it seriously. I mean, you don't have to take it as gospel, but at least check it out. You know, don't just laugh it off. Don't just say, oh, that person's crazy, or oh, that person's jealous, or whatever. I'm going to say, check this out, because otherwise somebody is really doing a number on you here. Really, Sagittarius. And I hate to see that happen. All right, let's look at communication style right now. You have somebody that you're being really silly with, joking around, goofing off. You know, you're really not talking about anything serious with this person. And you have somebody else that you're being very decisive with. This is totally serious conversation. This may have to do with business or with finances, with work. But very serious conversation here. And I feel like you're feeling pretty restricted to the point, like, I think you've been backed up against a wall and you feel like you have to make a decision. And so you're making this decision, and I think you're very clear about this decision. There's not any second guessing it here. And I also think that when I'm looking at your communication style, I really believe that you are telling the truth. The truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth. And I think that a lot of the truth that you're seeing has to do with what you're seeing intuitively. It's almost to me like you sort of have blinders on up until this person says to you, hey, don't fall for this silliness over here. And then all of a sudden, it's like you sort of wake up from a trance almost. All of a sudden, you're seeing with your own intuition, you know what? When I look at this, yeah, it's there. I see it. And I think you're communicating that truth to the people around you, to the person who's trying to create all the illusions. And you're trying to tell them, hey, be honest with me or get lost, one or the other. All right. No more word games. You don't want word games. Next thing we're looking at is work. Okay, we do have some changes going on with work. Remember last time frame we had some changes going on with work? We have more here. And actually, I'm kind of hoping some of the energy I saw last time, that you, since you have the heads up, that you've changed it, and that would make some of the energy I'm seeing this time not true. But for what I'm seeing right now, as I put the cards on the table, is that for the week of the 9th through the 16th, there is a little bit of pity party going on. Feeling sorry, feeling bad about some kind of disappointments that have happened. And I feel like there's a little bit of desperately wanting things to go better, maybe even, you know, desperately to the point of praying if you've never prayed before. I do think that you're pulling money or resources out that you had stashed away to try to get yourself into a better situation whenever it comes to work, to try to get into something where the waters are a little bit calmer and a little less rough. All right. Now, for those of you that I cautioned you last time about overspending or spending bigger than what your business or your independent income thing is, you guys may not have this happening. You guys may have headed this off. But definitely for those of you who really outspent yourselves, then this is tough now. Okay? And I think you're changing your perspective about spending at this point. You're sort of buckling down now. Now, inner work I want to look at too. I think you are doing a lot of inner work, and you're looking at that whole idea that you want peace, that you want security, and working on finding ways to find that peace and security. And there is a little bit of self-blame and self-doubt here about, well, you know, I made some moves that kind of messed that up. You don't want to hover around that self-blame and self-doubt too long. You really want to acknowledge, okay, yeah, I did kind of mess things up, but what am I doing now? Always focus on the now. What can I do to fix it? What can I do to move forward in a healthy way that makes good progress? That's what we're focusing on here. And that's where your inner growth is on focusing on the now and what are we doing to make things better now. Okay? So next, Sagittarius, what we're looking at is that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded as we go through this particular time frame. So, you are receiving a gift, but I don't feel like it's a traditional style gift. I don't feel like it's money or necessarily even a material thing, as much as I feel like it's a gift of time. It looks like your gift is that somebody is giving you time to accomplish something, more time than what you had agreed on originally. I think that's all I need to say about that, actually. All right. Things that you stand for during this time frame. So, I feel like what's going on here that you're standing for is there's somebody that you're collaborating with to reach a goal or reach a target. All right, financially. This is a financial goal or financial target. All right. So this can be a client. This can be a vendor. This can be a life coach. This can be a company that you sell your products with. This can be if it was me, this could be YouTube. Out here promoting myself. It's a joint goal here. YouTube has the things that they want. I have the things that I want. And we're able to collaborate together to reach some goals. So you're working with somebody to reach a goal. But at the same time that you're working with somebody to reach a goal, you're also feeling like you're very alone whenever it comes to finances. You're feeling like the weight of the finances is very much on you. Okay? This could be a joint venture where you're putting all the money into some kind of investment and the other person is putting in total sweat equity. All right? But either way, I feel like the financial burden is straight up on you in this goal that you're trying to reach, where you're working with somebody else to reach that goal. And so that's what you're standing up for. You're standing up for, this is fair. This other person is doing whatever they're doing. Of course, it's fair for me to be paying some money. I'm going to get something out of it. It'll be fine. How is this other person seeing you? It's interesting here. They're not sure that you're making good decisions. Okay? This other person actually cares for you. They have feelings for you, but they're not sure that you're making good decisions. And at the same time, they also feel like you are an abundant person, like you have plenty. It's almost like, well, it's okay if Ms. Sagittarius or Mr. Sagittarius doesn't make good decisions because they have plenty. They can afford the mistakes if they're making a mistake here. And they do feel like you're being wishy-washy in your decisions, or your decisions may not be as solid as they might hope. Okay. Let's look next at the flex point during this time frame to see what's going on here. Okay, so the flex point, you do have a lot on your plate as you are bringing something up from the dead. So we're still working on whatever that new project was where you're doing something old. That is still coming up here, even as part of the flex point, that this is keeping you very busy. But once again, you're very self-sufficient on this. You're handling this. You're doing just fine with this. And it has you feeling really inspired. so busy as you bring this thing back from the past and feeling really inspired and just enjoying the whole process of it. What's going on at the same time? I feel like you walked away from something that was chewing away at your time or at your energy because you weren't feeling really inspired about continuing on with it, and you've pissed somebody off when you did that. It just doesn't look like it was a good fit for you, and so you decided, okay, I need to go because I've got things going on that are a better fit for me. I need to be able to devote my time and energy to. I'm busy. I don't have time to do something that doesn't make me feel rejuvenated and excited and happy. And so, yeah, you've pissed somebody off as you walked away from whatever that was. What else is happening? You are really getting prepared to focus on building up your support network or your client base, if that is something that supports you. Yep. You're really, you're preparing to build up that client base or that support network of colleagues. If you're building a business, you may be preparing to bring on more people to help you with the responsibilities. You may be preparing to bring in more clients so that you can serve them. But you're getting very focused on bringing more people into the picture here. La da da da, la da da da, la da da da. All right, where do we see you at the end of this time frame? You have had a little bit of a break where you've thought things over and you've changed your perspective on things. You're done with that break. You are collaborating with somebody else now, and you're keeping an eye on this person that you're collaborating with. You're making sure that you know everything about this person that you're collaborating with. You don't want any surprising little secrets to come up later. You want to know exactly who it is you're dealing with. And so I think that you're keeping a good eye. So if you've hired some kind of contractor, I think you're watching over them really closely. You're keeping a good eye on them. You're checking out their reputation. You're checking out their references. You're making sure this person is who you thought they were before you started collaborating with them. You're definitely keeping a close eye on them, this person that you're collaborating with. Okay? So that wraps up that time frame, Sagittarius. Let me go ahead and take a break. And when I come back, we'll start on the third section of September. Thank you guys for being here. Welcome back, Sagittarius. This time we're looking at September 17th through the 23rd. Let's see what's going on here. See what's going on in your world, Sagittarius. Okay, my dears, we have cards on the table. Let's take a peek first off at your environment. Now, your environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. So for most of you, this will be home, but for others, it may not be. It looks like you guys are having some kind of celebration about something that is finally working right at home. Well, in your environment. Last time it looked like there was something that needed to be taken care of there, and that it was taking more time than just that last time frame. Looks like that is complete now, and it looks to me like whatever this is, it's significant enough that you are celebrating the fact that whatever this is, whatever this work was that had to be done, is complete. And this actually opens more options for you. This opens more doors for you going forward, having this, I feel like having this upgrade completed and done. Okay, la da da da. Next thing that we have coming up here talks to me about your subconscious leanings. Look at this. There's been something that happened where somebody has shown you their true colors, and you are less than impressed, Sagittarius. Huh. This may have to do with kind of what you were thinking about last time around too, because we have that energy about not competing, not wanting to compete. And I think that you are withdrawing from whatever competition this is, or you're definitely in your subconscious leanings. Maybe you're not withdrawing actually, but in your subconscious leanings, you're not feeling very energized to compete here. You're feeling like, you know what, now that I know the real deal, I don't feel like putting energy or effort into competing for that. Okay, so that's where you are in your subconscious leanings during this time frame, the 17th through the 23rd. Let's look next at learning style and communication style. So, learning style looks like you're burning the candle at both ends, staying up late, figuring out information, coming up with things that help you have some real clarity. I do pick up that you're getting a lot of information just out of curiosity and just by observing what's going on around you and observing the people and the things, how things are working together around you. Once again, gathering more information about how to set up a security for yourself long term, like for retirement or residual income, something like that, also is something that you're learning about at this point. I'm going to tell you too, this is not something that necessarily is your learning style, but it does come through very strongly in this cards anyway, so I think you guys need the heads up. There is somebody who is keeping a very close eye on you, and I think that they're doing it in a more secretive type of way, so you may not realize. This is not somebody that, you know, this is not somebody where you've agreed to allow them to put cookies on your computer or something like this. This is where there's somebody who is keeping a good eye on you from a distance without you knowing that they're watching you. I'm picking up cards, but I'm not done yet. I want to look at your communication style too off of these cards. There is a lot that you're communicating right now. And I think there's a lot of happy news to be communicated. There are a lot of good things that are happening, definitely. And I think there's a couple of people in your life that you're communicating to very happily and very jovially. There's also somebody in your life that you are keeping some things hidden from. I feel like you're making preparations for something and you're keeping that hidden. This may be a surprise for somebody, or maybe you know, this could be a pleasant surprise for somebody, or maybe a not so pleasant surprise. Either way, I do think you're making some kind of plans and you're keeping them hidden from somebody else. So that communication style is kind of mum's the word when it comes to that. There is somebody that you're communicating with that I feel like is really jealous of you. And I think you're trying to communicate that with them in such a way as to bring peacefulness into the situation and to eliminate the stress and sort of detox that situation. So I think you're being very careful in that communication. And I think you're definitely using your wisdom as you're communicating with this person or this group of people. All right. La da 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 da. 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 Okay, so I do think you have some new partnerships going on when it comes to work, or at least a new partnership. This could be that if you were looking for a job, you found a job. This could be that, if you have an invention, you found somebody who would distribute that. But there's some kind of new partnership that comes up in work. I feel like as you've come into that new partnership, you have given up some of the control that you had over yourself or over your product or service as you've come into partnership. And I feel like also there's a delay from when you actually start working for this entity to, or with the entity to, when you actually receive payment for that work. I'm not going to say that I feel like payment is not coming in, but I do feel like there is that time of delay there where there's just lag time. It's just lag time. It kind of makes me, I really get the strong impression of, when you start for somebody and then, you have to finish out that pay period and then you're working on into the next pay period before you get paid for the previous pay period. That's the kind of lag time I feel like this is for you. All right. Let's look next at that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded right now. Okay, so there's some kind of situation where things have slowed down a lot. Communication has slowed down a lot. And I think that this is actually, it's interesting how this has affected you, because in a way it's a relief that the communication has slowed down a lot, or that there may not even be communication between you and this other person now. But at the same time that it's a relief, because maybe that communication was tense or competitive, there's also this sense of self-esteem or self-confidence going down too. So this is, to me, this is talking about a really complicated situation, where things were really tense, but you were trying to make the best of them. And whenever you guys decide that, well, it's better if we don't communicate, or if the other person decides that, then I think you are kind of left questioning, well, how come I'm not good enough? You've been really trying, been putting in energy or effort. How come you're not good enough? So, and I'm not sure, I can't take that this is a romantic situation really off the table based on these cards, but I will tell you that this feels more like some type of business situation, like with a client or a vendor or something. This doesn't have those romantic overtones that I normally have with this type of emotional situation. So I think that for most of you, it's going to have to do with work. That won't be true for everybody, because I am thinking about the romantic part. So there is a romantic part there, but I think for the majority of you, we're talking about work issues here, where work has slowed down a lot, and that has decreased your self-esteem, but it's also brought some healing to you. Maybe you were feeling like you couldn't keep up with work, and so it slowed down, and you're just like, oh, thank God I can breathe. And at the same time, you're like, but wait, why did it slow down? What's going on? My promotion's not right, whatever, There's a lot of different ways that the rubber can meet the road on that one, but that's just one example. Let's look at the things that you're standing for right now, Sagittarius. Okay, maybe I was wrong. Maybe this wasn't about work. What you're standing for does talk about something that you were really attracted to. Well, this doesn't have to be a relationship, although normally it is. But this could be an activity, a project too. But everything sort of blew up with it. Kind of out of the blue, completely unexpected, this blew up. And now you're left disappointed. And I think, somebody's saying something to you about, well, what happened? And I think you're just telling them that this is what happened. And maybe they're asking you why you're so down lately. And you're kind of explaining why you're feeling disappointed. How this other person perceives you, though, they see you as somebody who's really responsible. You don't walk away from work. You don't walk away from a burden. You don't walk away from responsibility. So the fact that this blew up, they're definitely not putting any of the blame in your court on this. They're seeing you as somebody who's really inspired, somebody who puts in the energy and the effort and the ideas and the excitement to make things work. But they're seeing you also as being a little bit toxic here, like you may overdo it, like you may overinvest, whether it's emotionally, financially, whatever. You may overinvest in something that hasn't really proven itself yet because you're willing to put in the work, you're willing to take things seriously. And it seems to me like they almost feel like you're a little too willing, that you should let situations prove themselves to you before you become so fully invested, is kind of how they're looking at this. They feel like you make it too easy, basically to be used. You make it very easy for people to use you, and they're worried about that for you. All right, let's look at your flex point during this particular time frame, Sagittarius. What do we have here? Sagittarius. I'm kind of worried about you too now. This looks like you are really investing a lot of yourself to go back to a situation that was negative and that is dead. And yet you're going back to the you're going back to the situation, and you're not going back lightly. Like, you're going through a whole lot of effort to go back to the situation that's already dead and that had a negative impact on you. Let's see what else is happening at the same time. You're showing up as a single person, somebody who's very independent and self-sufficient. But I don't think you're feeling very happy. Usually when somebody shows up as single, they show up as being happily single. You're not showing up as being happily single, but you're showing up as, like, as long as you're single, you're going to be unhappy. Like, this is actually what you're planning or what you're seeing for yourself, that as long as you're single, you're going to be unhappy. Now, this isn't going to apply to every single Sagittarius. It's a general reading. So for the ones that it does apply to, you're going to know because you're going to relate to it. Others of you, you could be in a partnership, a romantic partnership, and you could feel very single. And this could be talking about that feeling of being detached and self-sufficient on your own and not being very happy about the idea that you're in this romantic partnership and feeling so single. And having, just knowing that you're going to be miserable as long as things stay this way. What else is going on at the same time, though, that you're moving back to a situation that you know is not good for you, that you know is dead? I don't think you're very happy about doing this. I think as you're moving back into this situation, you're kind of doing this against your own best judgment, to be honest with you. And I think you're kind of angry at yourself for doing it. Why did you do it? I don't understand, Sagittarius. What's going on here? Okay, so it looks like you went back to this situation, but I don't think that you stayed back in this situation very long. Because you're looking for new opportunities already, and you're mad at yourself for going back into it. You went back into it against your own judgment, against your own intuition. So when we're looking at you towards the end of this time frame, we see you cutting the bullshit out, really. Cutting the lies, cutting the deceptions. You're looking at the truth and the truth only, thank you very much, and you are letting this drop. This renewed relationship that you didn't really even want to renew, you just did because, the other person wore you down? I don't even know why. You're letting this drop. I think you're realizing, you know what, no, I don't want to. I don't want to go back to this. And I think you're letting that person know. You're just telling them the truth. You're saying, you know, I really didn't want to hurt your feelings, or whatever your situation is, why ever you went back to it. I really didn't want to hurt you, but I just really can't do this. And I think you're telling them that once we get to the end of this time frame from September 17th to the 23rd. So whatever this renewal was of this relationship, whatever this relationship was, this is a short-lived thing. I don't think you really wanted to do it, and I think once you get into it, you realize there's no way that you can keep going like that and you get out of it. Okay? All right, so let me wrap this time frame up, take a break, we'll come back, and we'll hit the rest of the month. Thanks for being here, guys. Hello there, Sagittarius. Welcome back for the last section of September. Excuse me. We're looking at September 24th through the 30th this time. Just want to get a nice shuffle on the cards. We'll put some down when they feel right. As usual, there seems to be a little bit of chaos happening, just the way the cards are handling for me right now. Chaos happening in your life. Not necessarily a bad thing, just could be like a hectic time that's going on, a lot of things going a lot of different directions. This could be a time where you feel like your energy is just scattered out in a lot of different directions. All right, that feels right. Let's go ahead and put the cards down, Sagittarius. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, start your engines. Not really. Okay, we're looking at your environment right now. You're definitely taking control of your environment, and you're making it work for you. Yes, yes, yes. We're actually seeing that you are getting some of the benefits from your environment that you really wanted to get before. There's also something going on here where you're coming out of some kind of contract or lease, once again, but last time I don't think it was environment, last time I think this was work. So coming out of some kind of contract or lease in your environment, and really taking control of your own situation, and it looks to me like that's paying off for you, so good for you. Next thing we're looking at is your subconscious leaning, Sagittarius. Okay, kind of having a dark thought here for your subconscious leanings. It looks like things haven't been going the way that you've been planning for them to whenever it comes to a particular goal that you're trying to reach, that not only takes your efforts to reach this goal, but also the efforts of somebody else, maybe even the encouragement of somebody else. And it looks like this has been delayed or stalled, and it looks like it may even be going opposite of the direction that you actually want it to go. And so with your subconscious mind, you're thinking about, okay, this is a situation. What am I going to do about it? How am I going to turn that situation around and fix it? That's what we've got going on in your subconscious. Let's see what's happening as far as learning style and communication style. It looks to me like you're having a really hard time getting full information. You're getting a lot of bits and pieces and partial information from somebody or from some source right now. You are learning about something having to do with money or income, definitely. And you are learning some kind of creative idea. I feel like this is a creative idea about how to handle money, honey. Maybe it's a creative idea about how to make money. All right, but let's look at your communication style. I do think that you are talking to people about plans that you have moving forward. You are talking about money, 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 and plans for money. So you could be meeting with a financial advisor, or you could be meeting with investors, potential investors, but definitely talking about your plans, about your strategies, and really trying to help people understand what it is that you are ready to pull off here. La da 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 da, la da 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 da, la da da da. Let's look at work. There is some kind of delay in work. There's some kind of holdup. It may be that, you know, if you're trying to get investors, maybe not having the investors is kind of holding you up. It looks like, yeah, there is definitely some kind of delay. You're feeling like you don't have anything to celebrate yet, although you're trying to create something to celebrate. And it looks like you're going back into some old ways of doing things. And I feel like this is just because you have to. This isn't necessarily by choice. I think you know that these old ways are less than ideal, but they'll gimp you through. And so that's what I see you doing. Now, as far as inner work, your inner work is really facing the truth about what your situation is right now and coming up with a solution of how you can find happiness in it, how you can create some happiness out of this situation. That's your inner work, looking for the happiness. Always in search of happiness. We're always in search of it. Even if we're in a good time, we're in search of it, but we're definitely in search of it when things are rough. All right, where are you being grown or expanded right now? Something is definitely taking you by surprise, and it's making it a little bit hard for you to wrap up loose ends on a situation. But you are definitely making plans about getting these loose ends wrapped up. And that's where you're growing and expanding, is in, okay, how do I cope with this situation? How do I make this situation a good one? How do I wrap up those loose ends in spite of this little surprising bit of information that came up? Things that you stand for. There's definitely a decision that you've made here. It looks like you've got a situation where someone or something has shown you their true colors and you're not as interested in them as you were before. And there is some detachment going on, and I think that's because you've decided, you know what, I have to distance myself from this situation. This is not what I thought it was getting into it. So it's time for me to pull back from that. And I think you're standing up for that. Somebody is saying, hey, what's going on? I thought you were all in. You're having to stand up for this idea of, you know, you had to make a decision here about how much all in you really want to be. How do other people see you? Or at least, how does this person see you? They're really seeing you as somebody who is taking back a gift, somebody who is reneging on something. And they see you as somebody who's not even giving them, or whoever, a chance to explain the situation or try to make things right. That you are just getting out of this, distancing yourself from this right now without giving somebody a chance to explain or make things right. And that you're basically taking a gift back. The gift that you had given somebody before, you're taking that back. A gift or an opportunity. A chance for someone. Okay. Let's look next at what's going on during this time frame. Well, we're looking at, that's all of what we're looking at. Right now, let's look at the flex situation during this time frame. I think you're taking some very logical action to where you're taking a situation where you may have been a situation that you might have been really attracted to that looked really good to you. I think you're deciding, no, you know what, I'm putting the kibosh on that. I'm killing that deal. Not moving forward with it. That's where we're really flexing here. What's happening at the same time? Well, at the same time, oh yeah, there's somebody that's coming back from the past, and they're telling you, you know, how important you are to them. But you have really bad memories with this person, and you're feeling like they aren't really being straight up with you. how wonderful you are and how much you mean to them and blah, blah, blah. You're not feeling like that's for real. And what else is going on here as you're putting the kibosh on something that you used to be attracted to? You are putting a lot of energy into a lot of different aspects about bringing something up and bringing something back from the past and making it happen. And I think that you're finding a lot of happiness in actually putting out this energy and effort. It may seem pretty hectic. You may be scattered pretty thin here, but you're definitely being successful in bringing back something that was a part of your past and making it something that makes you feel successful and happy and secure. La da da da. I don't think that's this person from the past, I gotta tell you. Not match up. Where do we see you at the end of this time frame? At the end of this time frame, you are interacting with somebody who is really grounded now. They have put an addiction in the past, something that they were addicted to in the past, but it's in the past because now they're really grounded. They are thinking very clearly. You know, they've put their life in order now. I'm really liking the energy around this person. I think that they definitely had trouble with that addiction situation in the past, but they've taken care of that. They've made that a part of the past. Problem is that this person has really low self-esteem right now. Low self-esteem and self-confidence. But this is somebody that we see you interacting with once we get to the end of this week. Or this time frame, I should say. I don't think it's an even week. So anyway, that's actually the end of the month, too. So thank you, Sagittarius, for hanging out with me and watching those predictions. I hope that they are things that bring help to you. Thank you also for all the thumbs ups and for sharing this video with other people who may find it helpful as well. And on top of that, thank you to those of you who are ordering private readings and private Reiki sessions from me. It's because of all of you guys' support at every single level that I'm able to do what I love to do for my living. So once again, thank you very much. Everybody have a fantastic month. And if I don't see you here for a live reading between now and then I'll see you all on the next video. Peace out.